Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our parent webinar. My name is Michelle Bogan, and I am an admissions counselor here at Winthrop University. Also, I am an alum from a long, long time ago. So I have some really good memories of being a student at Winthrop. A lot has changed since I was a student, but then really a lot has stayed the same, and that's what just makes this place so special. But in addition to being an admissions counselor and alum, I'm a mom. I'm a mom of two daughters. My oldest is wrapping up her second year in college, and my youngest is a senior in high school. So been navigating this crazy year just like you all have. And so I just remember when my oldest daughter went to college and how nervous I was and how many concerns and questions I had. So we just thought by doing this tonight that hopefully we can answer some of your questions and concerns and just help you feel comfortable as your student, your son or daughter, I should say, transitions into a college student. Craig?
Perfect. My name is Craig Giroux. I'm also an admissions counselor here at Winthrop, and I'm also a parent. I'm a little older than Michelle. I've got a daughter that has been out of college for she's been out of college for over 10 years. And I also have a son who has been out of college for over 4 years. So although their college was a little different, the feelings that I have as a parent are the same ones that you're having. To tell you what's going to go on tonight, we're going to talk about 4 different areas. If you're like me, you might have many, many questions, and Michelle and I are going to hopefully answer many of those questions prior to the question answer part at the end. Certainly, if you have any questions at the end, we want to answer them all. The 4 areas that we're going to talk about tonight is living on campus, which has a lot of different parts to it. We're going to talk about safety, and I'm sure that parents are certainly interested in that. We're going to talk about student support, and we're going to talk about finances. So those are the 4 areas. Please go ahead and write your questions down as you go. Also in the chat on the side, you could go ahead and put some questions in there. And we're just so excited that you're here tonight. Michelle?
Okay, great. So I'm going to talk about living on campus. So all of our freshmen and sophomores are required to live on campus. The exception to that rule is if you live within 50 miles of the campus and you choose to live at home, you can do that. Oftentimes, students that are even that close do choose to live on campus. And we think there are so many wonderful benefits to students living on campus. First, they're going to make lifelong friends. They're going to be really connected to the university, involved in a lot of activities, but also really close to classes and food. Dining halls are right there. So just a lot of advantages to living on campus. Just one thing I'll talk about the residence halls in a second, but just to note, on every floor in every residence hall, there is what's called a resident assistant. This is a staff member that has been trained. They are typically an upper class student that is responsible for that floor. So your student, they live right there in the center of the hall, and that is going to be just a great contact for your student as they are not only just a new student, but throughout the year if they have questions. So the RA, the resident assistant, is on that floor, responsible for that floor, maintains, control of that floor if it's to get loud. They do have mandatory hall meetings, so they keep them up to date on happenings. And it's just a really comforting thing to know that there is someone living up there in the hall with your student. In addition to that, we have a residence learning coordinator who also lives in the building, also a trained staff member, typically a graduate student who is responsible for the whole building. So those resident assistants report to the resident learning coordinator. And so again, just kind of that peace of mind that there are people there, just keeping charge, keeping control over everything. So what's going to happen is your student is going to sign up for housing. They're going to do it through their student portal. They may or may not have decided there's someone they want to live with, and they may or may not request a roommate. Either way, it's totally fine. They're going to fill out a little survey, very short, basically telling Residence Life a little bit about them. Are you an early riser? Are you messy? Are you really neat? I mean, just to kind of get an idea of what your students like. And then Residence Life is going to, if they have not selected a roommate, Residence Life is going to pair them with someone they feel is very compatible. And they do a really, really good job of doing that. So they will do that. They will fill out their application for housing, and they can, if they would like, put a preference or two of the residence hall. Again, they do not have to. Typically, all of our freshmen do live in Wofford, Richardson, or Margaret Nance. The Margaret Nance and Wofford are female residence halls. Richardson is co-ed, and it's co-ed by floor. All three of these dorms are considered traditional style, so they are the hall style bathroom residence halls. But again, with Richardson being co-ed, it is by floor. So in addition to that, they will select a roommate if they would like to. They don't have to. They can put down some preferences on residence hall, but they don't have to. They will get their assignment in June. So it's usually in early June, they'll find out where they're going to be living and their roommate assignment. We do realize every once in a while, whether you pick a roommate or you get one assigned, that sometimes things just might not work out. And if that's the case, that's fine. Residence Life is going to work really hard to get it resolved. And so if your student has any issues with their roommate, all they've got to do is go to their RA, their resident assistant, or the residence learning coordinator, and they will help them get that resolved, getting another roommate or moving. Winthrop has a very liberal moving policy. So even if you're sitting there and their roommate, her roommate, his roommate, they want to move to another room, if a room is available, they can usually, the week after classes, they can start making requests to change rooms. So again, we have a real liberal policy on moving if for some reason, you might think this room's better or want to move to a different floor or something like that. So that can usually happen as well. But again, Residence Life works really hard to make sure that that your student is happy, because they're going to thrive if they're happy. Also, just want to touch base on the fact that residence halls are locked. Your student is going to use their ID to get in. They have a designated door that they can use, but at 8 p.m., the only way that the only door that remains unlocked is the main door. So that's just another piece of mind to know that that those doors are locked. 8 p.m. It's just the main entrance, and then their rooms also lock as well, so they'll have a key for that. So again, I know safety is a big one, so I'm going to turn it over to Craig, and he's going to continue on with safety.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. I see a lot of questions and a lot of good questions that we're going to certainly try to get to all of them at the end, some of which we certainly might answer as we go along. Many of you have your cameras off right now, and that's okay. But if I asked you how many of you safety was real important for your child, I would see all kinds of hands waving at me, right? Because safety is one of the big things, and every one of you will talk to your son or daughter about it. My first child that went away was a daughter, and I think moms and dads, we probably talk a little bit more with our daughters than our sons, whether that's right or wrong or whatever, but we're worried about their safety. We have a number of things here on campus that are going to help keep our students safe. We had an open house tonight. A father asked me, do you talk to the students about being up and make sure you have buddies? Certainly we do that. The difference is sometimes they listen to us a little bit more than maybe they would listen. Parents, guys, guys and gals, they listen to you, but we're more official than that. There's something called Live Safe, which is an app that students are suggested, highly suggested to put on their phone. Live Safe works at any university or college, but you're going to designate it. Your son or daughter is going to designate it for Winthrop. What that Live Safe is going to do is we want our students, if they see something that doesn't look right, they can get on their Live Safe app and it's going to go straight to our Winthrop police. So our Winthrop police are going to be aware of it just as soon as our students tell them. If at any time that our students are not comfortable and feel like they need the school police officers to come, they can hit the Live Safe app, and certainly it has a GPS that'll tell our school police exactly where they are. We do have police officers that are South Carolina law enforcement officers. The way our chief explained it is they could write a parking ticket in Charleston, South Carolina, because they are a law enforcement officer for the whole state of South Carolina. We have some different other things that are helpful in safety. There are call boxes throughout the campus that are located. So if a student sees something or feels unsafe, they can go to that call box. Again, that's going to go straight to our school police. Our school police officers are coming through the campus and patrolling the campus 24/7. Something else that's open for almost 24/7 is our library. And we hope that your sons or daughters spend a lot of time there in some manner. And they might be there late in the evening. And our students are told if they do not feel comfortable going back to their dorm, they are to call school police. School police will escort them. School police will be there for them if need be. We try to emphasize to our students that they are a big part of our safety, having their eyes out there and letting us know if they see anything. I always tell the parents, when they say, well, what about crime on campus? Well, number one, we don't have a high wall around our campus, fences around our campus. The crime statistics are located on our website, and you can look at those. But any crime that might happen on our campus is usually somebody that has come on our campus. It's not a student. There are cameras throughout our campus. We have very little crime on our campus, and mainly because we kind of have a family type of an atmosphere. And I will tell you, I've been on and around campus in the evening, on the weekends, and we always see a presence of our school police officers and other folks on and around our campus. The next thing we're going to talk about is student support. And Michelle, if you would go ahead and talk about that.
Thanks, Greg. Okay, so for student support, I'm going to talk about two different categories. So we have academic support, and then we have personal support. And I know as parents, they're equally important to us. So academic support, we just want your student to be successful here. And we think we have some really great tools to help them with that. We have an academic success center. We have a building on campus that is designated for a tutoring center for your students. This no additional charge. It's part of the package of being a Winthrop student, and it's tutoring. It is tutoring available to your student. They take appointments. They can do walk-ins. They can tutor in over 50 just general education subjects. Sometimes students are on a plan where they will have like a set session like once a week for a specific subject. Sometimes you just might need tutoring for that biology test that's coming up, or something like that. But anyway, it is just a great source. You can have consultations there, just one-on-one. So just a really, really awesome center that we have. In addition, we also have a writing center to help with all of those papers that you have to write for classes, and we have a math tutoring center as well. So just some great sources for students. But again, we want them to be successful, and we really think that we have the tools to help them. So then for the personal support, we have counseling and health services. So as far as for our health services, we have a health center right on campus. So if your child is to get sick, and likely they'll get a cold or something at some time or another where they're going to need to see someone, they don't have to search for urgent care, or they don't have to go to a doctor's office. It's right there. I mean, if they have an injury, if they need allergy shots, if they need vaccines, there's so many things right here on campus for us. For your student, for your child. I keep saying your student, your child. I'm sorry. So yeah, there's that, and there's also counseling services, and this is just so important. If your child is just at a point where they just need to talk to someone, they're frustrated, they need to vent, they're sad. We have counseling services available, and again, they're readily available for all of the students at Winthrop. And again, you just never know. It could be test anxiety. It could be homesickness. It could just be low self-esteem. So we have just really, really, really good support for your students. Another thing is we have a peer mentor program. Wonderful, wonderful program that your child, may want to take advantage of. If they choose to do this, they would be assigned a peer mentor, which is an upperclassman that I say is like their person that's just going to kind of help them navigate college the first year. And it's written that they're their role model, a mentor, and a resource, just their go-to person that can kind of get them connected, plugged into the university, answer any questions, direct them in the right way. So just a really awesome program for students, and had a lot of really great friendships come out of this as well. And then finally, student organizations. We have over 160 clubs and organizations for students. We honestly believe there is something for everyone. And some examples, we have club sports, intramural sports, religious organizations, Greek life, political, professional, religious organizations. Again, something for everyone, all types of clubs. And we really believe that the more engaged that they are on campus, the more they're going to grow both inside and outside of the classroom. So again, a little something for everyone. And we always say if we don't have a club that they're looking for, then they can get a couple friends together and start their own. So it's really a awesome way for them to be meet some new friends and get involved. Okay, Craig, I will turn it back over to you.
Okay, I'm going to talk about finance in just a second, but I'm seeing a lot of things on the chat where parents are asking, it sounds like you're planning on being on campus this fall. And what I want to just say about that is this. Right now, our leadership has been looking at all the possibilities. Yes, our hope is that we certainly will be on campus this fall, and that's the way we're planning. We are a state school. Our direction we're going to take from our governor's office. Governor McMaster is going to go ahead and say a lot. That a lot of what's going to happen is going to have to do with what the state says. Our leadership is certainly planning for us to be on campus, but we're also looking at the data and we're seeing how things happen. We are planning for all kinds of possibilities. So I've been involved with a lot of the meetings that are going on campus. And just so you know, we're looking at all kinds of possibilities so that we'll be ready. I'll get back to finance. Couple things that parents need to know. If you have a question about your son or daughter receiving a scholarship, that's not financial aid. Scholarships are awarded through admissions. So certainly you could check with admissions on that and our admissions counselor. If we're talking about South Carolina scholarships like Hope or Life or Fellows or any of our merit-based scholarships, certainly any admissions counselor will be able to help you with that. Certainly, we hope everybody's already filled out the FAFSA. If you have not, then you ought to get on tonight and fill it out and send it to Winthrop so that they certainly can process that. Know that your students have to go onto their Wingspan account and accept their different financial aid. If they receive a Pell Grant, they have to accept that. If they're receiving student loans, they have to accept that. If they have merit-based scholarships, they have to accept all of those. Again, if they don't know how to do that, we have a YouTube channel that has a lot of different explanations. And one of the things it has is how to deal with Wingspan. So that's certainly very important. Student financial services is probably one of our areas that is going to be one of our parents' best things to know about. At some point, after students have received their classes, you guys are going to get a bill. I get a bill. My son and daughter went to college. Michelle's got bills when her daughter went to college. You're going to receive a bill. Hopefully you have scholarships and other things that'll cut into that bill. What Student Financial Services has shared with us is if there is a special circumstance, if you need a week to make sure that you get your life scholarship or whatever it might be, Student Financial Services asks that you speak with them and communicate with them prior to classes being dropped because somebody doesn't pay their bill. They can do something about it on the front side. On the back side, it's a little bit more difficult to get those classes back that your student had a very, your son or daughter had a very perfect schedule for them and their classes were dropped. And we certainly don't want to see that happening, but we certainly hope that if you communicate with Student Financial Services, they're going to be able to help you with that. Everybody should have already received their financial aid. Students should receive their financial aid, both online, and we mailed a nice, pretty breakdown for you to look at. Again, if you have questions about any of that financial aid that is awarded, please contact one of our admissions counselors. I probably one of the things that we just, as a parent, that I can say to you as a parent is support your son and daughter, but try to let them figure it out. I had somebody explain that raising a child is like flying a kite, and you let string out, and you let string out, and you let string out, and pretty soon, sometimes you got to let go of that handle to the string and let your child fly. We have a lot of support here for the students. Every student's got to have a mentor. So I talk about it as like they've been assigned a friend. That mentor has been somebody that's been successful, that goes through training, who is there to support your student and there to also tell your son and daughter where they can get help. All those things certainly are very important. And what we'd like to do now is The other thing, and I see Dr. James is talking about setting up a payment plan. That's also done through student financial services, that you can set up a payment plan where you pay a portion of your bill once a month. A lot of folks can handle that a little bit better than all of it up front in one chunk. So there's a lot of things online that you can explore on our website, or you can contact those different areas. Michelle, if you look over there and you see any questions, I know there were some on housing that happened a little bit ago. Micro fridges are in each of the rooms, so students don't need to bring microwaves or fridges. Those are provided for our students. Can freshman students, are they allowed to have cars on campus? Certainly they are. Not every university allows cars on campus. They have to have a parking decal on the car, or actually a placard that they hang in their car. I will tell you that the amount that our students pay is far less than many of the other colleges and universities. From a dad standpoint, and I'm going to say this, freshmen are allowed to have cars on campus, but many times they will not need them. We have an electric bus system that runs through the city of Rock Hill that students can ride for free. We also have a Comporium bike system that if the student is allowed to use the bike less than 2 hours, it's also free. I try to tell freshmen, be careful that you do not become other students' Uber, okay? I've been out of college for a long time. I still have some of my buddies that still owe me gas money, okay? And I'm probably not gonna get it back right now. So although you're allowed to have cars on campus, be aware that many times you won't need it. If we're doing a great job, I want to prepare you for something that's going to happen to you. Your student, your son or daughter is going to arrive to your house for the Thanksgiving break, and you cannot wait for them to get home. There's going to be a lot of hugs and celebration, and your son or daughter is going to see some of their friends they haven't seen, and you're going to have your big celebration on Thursday. And long about Friday, your son or daughter, if we do the things we need to do here at Winthrop, is going to say, man, I want to go back home. And when my son or daughter went home, I went, you are home. And that's not a bad thing. They view where they're going to school as home. And so as much as that might hurt our hearts a little bit, if we're doing the right thing at Winthrop and your son or daughter's doing the right thing, they're going to want to come back here because they're forming friendships that are going to last a lifetime. What are some of the other questions? Michelle, do you see any of those
I
online?
see. I'm sorry. Yes, I see some. Okay, so students can bring a TV. There is not one in each room, so they can certainly bring one of those. Let's see. On the and I'm going. We have now that our world is virtual for this little bit of time. We're making a lot of videos and admissions just to kind of help students do different things. And I'm getting ready to film mine on signing up for housing. So I've really gone through everything pretty good. And on the application, there is going to be a section there as to if one area you can request a private room. You do have to pay the additional charge, and if there's availability, your child could be assigned a private room, but again, they would have to pay the difference. But there's also a section that if you have disabilities or need special accommodations, that you can indicate that on the application. And then there's going to be some detail of what your child would need to do and who to contact the Office of Accessibility. So there is a section on there for like the handicap rooms. And again, we do have accommodations in different areas, but again, there's just a place on the application that they can indicate that, and they'll certainly work with you on all of that. Also, the RA position says, it's a job. Actually, I think I'm sometimes in denial that I'm as old as I am, because I have students this age, but I was an RA when I was at Winthrop in Wofford, and just want to share with you, Hurricane Hugo came through when I was an RA in Wofford, and if any of y'all remember Hurricane Hugo, very destructive to the area, and we couldn't even hear it. We took every student to the basement. Everybody was fine. We were amazed when we walked out and saw the damage. So anyway, super safe buildings. RAs are there. That's what they're there for, to take care of your students. But yes, very trained, have a lot of responsibility. But as soon as they're a sophomore, they can apply for that job, and it is a wonderful job, and it teaches you so much about so many different things. So anyway, yes.
Michelle, I looking down at my notes, something I forgot to talk about during safety is we have something on campus called a WU alert, a WU alert. Students will sign up for that through their cell phone. Staff will sign up for that, faculty, and I also suggest parents sign up for that. If we're having a weather situation where they're going to send a WU alert out saying shelter in place, it would be neat as a parent that I also get that, so I know they're going through some weather down there. I'll give you an example. Is I was out recruiting in the state of Florida, and my WU alert went off, and it said that classes were canceled due to a water main break. And if you're from around here, there's a water main that broke on Cherry Road, and we had a river going past the college. 125,000 people lost water, and it shut down many businesses and our university for a while. And again, I learned of that even though I was far away through a WU alert. So we ask all of our students, and I think it makes a lot of sense for our parents also to sign up for the WU alert. And you can do that. Directions, all of these things I'm talking about, Live Safe and WU alert, all are online. If you go to winthrop.edu, you can either put in safety in the search box or just go ahead and put Live Safe or whatever it might be. And certainly you can find out more information about it.
Craig, this is Lee Poole from the International Center. There have been a couple of questions from several different parents about the type of laptop to purchase, whether a PC or a Mac. And I just wanted to bring that to your attention, if I may.
Yeah, hi Lee. Thanks so much for joining us, first of all. And second of all, I had written a couple responses to students or to our parents, but realized that question kept coming up. So the laptop really depends on the program. Some of our laptops like design or our mass comm programs, really the students do a lot better using Macs because of the functionality of them. But if for students in accounting or marketing or psychology or history, many of those students just have PC. So it really is dependent on the program. And that would be a great question to ask the academic advisor that your student is going to virtually meet with during orientation. Another thing, and I'm just going to jump in here again about orientation because that question has been asked a lot. At this point, on-campus orientation has been canceled, but your student has been receiving quite a bit of communication about the new orientation plan. Orientation is now it's kind of broken up into two different events. In May for transfers and June for our freshmen. It's an online orientation. The student will complete a bunch of modules in kind of an online classroom setting. To learn more about the programs, more about the department, more about Winthrop, what they have access to. Once they complete that, then it will be triggered for their academic advisor to schedule a time to register, to meet with them to register for classes. So again, as soon as the student has completed the online portion, an academic advisor will reach out to the students to schedule a time to register for classes. This is new, we're new to this process, so I wish I could tell you exactly what the timing was going to be, exactly what to expect, but we're all kind of working through this together as we can, as best we can. So if your student has finished with their online portion and 3 to 5 days go by and they have not heard from an academic advisor, just have your student reach out to admissions counselor and we'll be able to help them. I see a lot, again, in a lot of these questions and a lot of my responses are reach out to the admissions team and the admissions counselors. If there's something that you haven't received, whether it be financial aid, if you have questions about the survey for roommate, if you want to know more in-depth information about orientation, the Office of Admission has all of those answers for you. And that's something that we're open, we are taking calls, we are scheduling virtual chats, right? We're doing things like this to make sure that we can get you as much information as we possibly can.
Amanda, there was a question about from a transfer student. I just happened to see it, and I'm a transfer counselor, so that word transfer kind of jumps out at me, concerning orientation for transfers. To be general, transfers that have already been admitted and signed up for orientation are going to have orientation during May. They're probably going to meet and register for classes towards the end of May. And they should receive something in their email next Monday. First-time freshmen are going to, that have already signed up for orientation, are going to be in June. So they're going to do an online portion and then have a virtual meeting with group meeting or one-on-one meeting, depending on their major, with their academic advisor. So know that we spent a lot of time on that, and we hope that that's going to work out just absolutely perfect. And we'll have to see as we go forward. What other questions do we have that we need? I see questions about orientation and orientation fee. Students do not have to pay the fee to orientation. But do not go to orientation, just add it onto your bill at the end.
I have a question, but I can't seem to get it to go through the chat. And I was wondering, how is Winthrop going to handle the cleaning of the dorms and the classrooms for the COVID-19 virus?
Thank you so much for asking that. I think I just replied to someone else had that question as well. At this point, nobody is on campus, and all of our buildings are being fogged every other week, right? So they are being disinfected every other week. And then our cleaning crew is going in after to clean that. At this point, that is what we're doing. That could and will all change if we are back on campus in the fall. And those discussions are happening about what the best route to go is. And I think, well, as you can imagine, everybody in admissions has been asking on a pretty much daily basis what the plan is for the fall, because we get asked by you all, we get asked by the students as well. And that's something that we really want to, kind of have the answer to sooner than later. But unfortunately, our senior leadership is not ready to make that decision. But I can promise you and assure you that if we are all back on campus in the fall, there will be plenty of precautions and plenty of kind of procedures in place to ensure the safest, cleanest environment for students, staff, and faculty. And as soon as we get an answer, as soon as we know, we are going to go ahead and make sure that all of our students and parents know what the plan is for the fall, and then what kind of safety precautions are being taken on the campus once we are all back.
Okay, I see some more questions. Some of you could not hear when we were talking about the orientation fee. Certainly there is an orientation fee. Um, Some students have not paid it before orientation. We ask that you do that, but we're going to allow students to come that have not paid their orientation fee yet. That amount will be put on their bill and forwarded onto their bill that they're going to receive with their bill for their classes. So that was the answer on the orientation fee. What, Michelle, do you see any others that we?
Excuse me, I have a question,
Yes.
and it's about Winthrop alumni. If you've had family members that attended Winthrop, do you guys offer family scholarships like Presbyterian and so forth?
We do not offer legacy scholarships. Certainly, we have a lot of merit-based scholarships. In fact, more levels than we've ever had this year. And many students, a lot of different ways for our students to get aid.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have one more question. Sorry about that.
Go ahead.
So you stated that you're not looking as if you're not going on campus, but say for instance, if the fall season doesn't apply for the students to come onto campus, within the packages they've been paying for their dorms and so forth, how would you adjust that? Would you put it over to the next term, as in the next fall term, or how would that work as far as financial?
We're going to ask for direction from our leadership on that. For instance, our students that were in the middle of the spring term went home, and they were refunded a portion of their fees for living in our residence halls. So that will be taken care of. How exactly that procedure is going to go, I will say is above my pay grade on how they're planning for that, but just know they are planning. We hope that we are going to be on campus in some manner with the students this fall. But if I knew 100%, I would not be sitting here in my house right now. I might be, but I would be talking to one of the major cable news organizations, because I would be one of them experts that I keep seeing them have on that need a haircut just like me.
I have
Thank you.
one more question. I asked about how they were going to disinfect the dorms and the classrooms for the students if they do come back this fall. And I heard earlier during one of the conversations about if the student is not a freshman, they can move to a different room where they don't have as many roommates. Can you go over that for me one more time, please? And thank you.
Can we do that, Greg?
Michelle? Yes.
Yes. So freshmen, first of all, and I should have mentioned this, freshmen are typically going to be assigned to another freshman roommate. So if, just say everybody's getting along great, but they see a room that they would rather live in, it's maybe a corner room or maybe a room on a different floor, then they can ask to be moved. And like I said, Winthrop has a very liberal policy about moving rooms. After classes start, they typically, you can put in a request and you can move. Most often, I mean, you are going to be assigned a roommate. The only way someone's going to really get a private room is if they request a private room and then agree to pay the additional charge for that. Now, again, if they're not, most of our, and we don't have triples, our rooms are 2 people to a room, and all of the freshman dorms that we don't say we have freshman dorms, but all the dorms where freshmen are typically assigned are hall style baths. So there's about 8 students that would typically share a hall bath with several showers, several sinks, toilets, and all of that. So there's still room for them to, spread out. But suites, which are typically reserved for upperclassmen, that would be a room where you have 2 people in a room, and it's like a Jack and Jill. The 4 of them share a bathroom, so there would be a bathroom in between those 2 rooms. They are responsible for cleaning those bathrooms. As far as all the other traditional style hall baths, those are cleaned by staff, so they're not responsible for cleaning their own bathroom. But again, it's just they can request moving. I hope I'm answering your question. After classes start, if for some reason that they just would like, if there was an empty room and they wanted to move.
Can I just clarify? This is a transfer in student that would be a junior. Would they be able to get a private room if they chose to? And what would the cost of a private room be?
So they, Craig, our transfer
student.
typically they can always request a private room, and there's a place to do that on the housing application. Craig, with transfers, are you seeing anything really different with their housing?
Well, they're allowed to live in our apartment style housing, and some of that apartment style housing, you'd have your own bedroom. That's for upperclassmen, transfer students, and honor students. And for honor students, they don't always stay there. Sometimes it's a first come, first served basis. I am seeing, you need to be aware that if you're going to have a room by yourself, they're going to charge you more money for that. So you need to be aware of that. I am seeing things about the $300, they're calling it a housing deposit, but know that we have a $300 enrollment deposit. It's typically due on May the 1st. That is not the case now. It is June the 1st, and what the enrollment deposit is somebody saying, I want to come to Winthrop, please hold my spot. Part of that $300 fee is going to be used for the orientation fee, and the other part will go straight towards the student's balance or bill. It's not I relate to parents and say it's not like a dealer fee at a car dealership that's going towards an end of the year celebration for admissions, although that would be pretty nice. We're not doing that with your funds. It's going straight to your son and daughter's bill or to their orientation fee. Also, some of you might have been interested in the family orientation. Know that they are currently working on that and what that's going to look like for our parents and family that still want to participate in that. And I heard today that they're working on that, and certainly they're going to reach out to all the students and the parents and let them know about that.
And then I see the questions coming through about the orientation fee, who's paid it, because it's not on campus, is that going to be refunded? It looks like that was answered, but a couple people may have missed it because of interference with people coming in and out of this meeting. At this point, the fee is being discussed at the leadership level. The hope is that we can still have an on-campus event in the beginning of August. That will be, again, the in-person portion of this 2-part orientation experience for the students. Because of that, we are trying to determine what the cost for each student would be. So once the decision is made, the announcement will be put out. The difference between what the final cost of orientation is and what has already been paid and or what has already been charged to student's account will just be put back on the student's account. So if you paid $145 and the decision for orientation to cost $50, that $95 will go to the student's account. It won't necessarily be paid back. Now, I can't guarantee that there will be a change in cost at all, right? That is something that senior leadership is discussing, as Craig has so wonderfully put it, way above our pay grade at this point. But we will share all information we can. We want to be as transparent and helpful to you and your students as we possibly are able to. So please, please, please do not hesitate to ask. So the $300 enrollment fee does include orientation. So I just want to make sure that that's clear. If you pay the $300 fee, that does include orientation.
What other questions do we have?
Hi, this is Jane Harmon. One quick question. If you've already registered for the orientation, the virtual orientation, when will he receive an email on what day to do that? He hasn't seen anything like that yet.
Is he a first-time freshman?
Yes.
Okay. So he signed up for a date during June, correct?
Yes, correct.
He's going to receive an email a week to 10 days prior to that date. It's going to give him instructions on how to do an online portion of that orientation.
Okay,
Once
gotcha.
the online portion is complete, he's going to receive a call from student services or an academic advisor in that college that's going to set up a time with the goal being on the days that the orientation was designated for. So if it was, I don't even know if we had one, June 5th and 6th, okay? You're not going to have to sit at home on the 5th and the 6th waiting on a call. We're going to have called you prior to that, or academic advisors are, and said, I want to meet with you on the 5th at 10 a.m. Okay. And they will meet, they'll be trained as to how to register for class. If they're having difficulty, we're going to have those fancy dancy mentors who are going to assist your students so they know how that's going to get done. And as Dr. James said, we're going to hope that they're going to be on campus for the other part of orientation in August, so that they get to meet some of their classmates that aren't from their hometown, and go through part of what we believe is real important, is the family kind of feeling that we have on Winthrop.
Excellent. And can I ask one more question? For the immunization records, is there a link where I can go back and watch how to upload that? Because I don't remember.
There isn't if you go to the link, it is done online. You cannot do that until the end of our spring semester if you're coming in the fall. That system is set up so that you can, if I'm coming in the fall, once the summer semester is started, you can send that form online. So maybe if you tried to do it right now for the fall, it wouldn't let you do it.
Okay, yeah, I couldn't see it. I couldn't find it. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you for being attentive to all these things. I always tell parents, I've been to college. I've had son and daughters that go to college. I've gone to college. I work at a college. Yet every college and university is different. So I think sometimes you assume that we think you know. You don't have to know. That's what we're here for. Please reach out to us. We're doing a great job, I believe, creating a number of YouTube videos that walk students and parents through exactly what they need to do to solve some of their problems. Dr. James has said many times, if you can't solve your problems, please call us, email us, get in touch with us, and we are going to do everything in our power to make sure that we get questions answered.
Excuse me, Craig, how many admission counselors do you have? And is it a way that we can set it up so when we correspond or our daughter corresponds that she can like talk to the same admission counselor, to develop a rapport with that individual?
It's a little different during this time. We did have assigned areas. So if you were in, for instance, if you were in the Greenville area, you're probably dealing with Ty. But with the virtual, how virtual we are now, any of our folks are working with any of the other folks. We do have virtual chats that students can do every single weekday. And I have had a number of students that the student can request to speak with admissions counselor X, Y, or Z. So if you get with somebody that you like, certainly you can request them. Just know that sometimes that person might be busy making a video or in a meeting or doing any number of things. And it could be a little bit of time for them to get back to you. But we're going to do our best to satisfy you. Okay, so just make sure that you ask for that admissions counselor.
Yeah, and I'll just add on that. So our admissions team, our entire team is working with every student, as Craig said. So at any time, if you have questions, you can go ahead and call our main line, which is 803-323-2191. I'll go ahead and put that in the chat so everyone can see it. And you can also always email us admissions@winthrop.edu. Again, admissions@winthrop.edu. If you are emailing back and forth with a specific counselor, or as Craig mentioned, if you have a video chat with one of them or a phone call and you get along very well and that is the person that you want to continue talking to, please do so. We're absolutely happy with that. We want to make sure that you get all your questions answered, and we want to make sure that you don't have to repeat yourself over and over with different people. So it definitely is up to you if that is the same person you want to continue to communicate with. The best thing I would recommend is if you have a new question for that person at any time, just go ahead and reply to your last email exchange with them. Keep it all in one exchange and you'll be good to go. But as the director of admissions, I love to hear that our parents want to chat with our counselors and reach out to them because that's definitely something that we're here for, and our counselors are still working their 8-hour days. So please call them and keep them busy.
I have a question, sir. They'll do. I'm sorry. When is the fall semester tuition due? What's the due date for that?
So tuition is due when class starts. So in July, your bill will go out, and between mid-July to mid-August, you'll be able to kind of work on getting loans if you have any balance outstanding, or work with Student Financial Services to get on a payment plan. But again, all of that really takes place in July when bills go out.
Rachel, you had a question?
Yes, sir. I was wondering, do y'all have a VA representative if you have a child that qualifies for Chapter 35 benefits?
Yeah, we are one of the top rated universities in our region in dealing with our veterans and sons and daughters of veterans. I would ask that you go to winthrop.edu, and in the search box in the upper right hand corner, what I have most success with is I'll put veteran benefits, and it'll take me to a link that'll have a series of frequently asked questions. And there'll be some telephone numbers of folks that you can contact and get in touch with. Because as we know, our government likes things on time and usually in advance to verify different things. So you should get on there maybe and look at that tonight and try to reach out to them tomorrow if you have any questions.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Who else?
Yes, I have a question. I was wondering, when will the current cost for the fall and spring semester for 2020 and 21 be available on the site?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question?
Yes. I was wondering, looking at the cost on the Winthrop site, I was wondering when would the new costs for the fall and spring for 20 and 21 be available?
So those usually go up mid-fall. So those will go up in about September, October. What we do is the final price for this fall will go out, I believe, late June, early July.
Okay.
And then we kind of base whatever the kind of tuition increase or room board increase was, and then estimate it for the coming year. Now, what we do is we actually overestimate, just so that you're not getting a bill and you're surprised because we underestimated. But yeah, we usually try to get that out for the subsequent year in kind of the middle of fall.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. My daughter is we are VA as well, and I'm a disabled veteran, and I need a letter from the school saying that she is currently enrolled versus accepted to the school. Is there such letter that you guys send out saying that she's enrolled since I've already paid for the enrollment and the orientation fee stuff?
So that would actually go through our Office of Records and Registration. They're the ones that handle all of the forms needed for VA benefits. So what I would recommend, I believe Kara Traverse is the one that is working with our VA benefits. But if you just reach out to Records and Registration, let me go ahead and pull up what their email is. They'll be able to help you, and they're going to be, I mean, again, they're the ones that deal with this constantly, so they'll be able to direct you exactly what you need. And again, you know, I'm sure there are a handful of other students and families that need the same thing. So Records and Registration is the place to go to for all VA benefit questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And just so you all have it, I will go ahead and type their email address. It is just recandreg@winthrop.edu.
Any other questions? I think Dr. James also said that anytime that admissions at winthrop.edu, you can go ahead and send your questions. If you hang up tonight from this meeting and exit out of this meeting and you go, darn, I wish I had to get right on the computer and send it. Because I promise you that one of us will get back to you hopefully tomorrow and get your question answered. So these meetings are great because it kind of, you see some of the other questions and you go, yeah, I've got something similar to that. And certainly during these difficult times, getting questions answered so that you feel comfortable is really important.
Do students need to bring any kind of technology with them for the wireless connection? I know there's a mention no cable, but are the signals really strong in the dorm rooms, or do they need boosters and stuff like that?
I haven't heard of any of our students needing boosters. From what we're told, that the Wi-Fi available in the residence halls is very strong. I guess depending on what your student is doing on their computers, from what I've been told. I'm not a gamer, but playing online games requires a little bit faster speed. So if that is, you know, something that your student is going to be doing, potentially, but the everyday, you know, streaming movies and playing on Instagram, whatever kids do these days, you're in pretty good shape, which is the Wi-Fi that we have. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
Are they allowed to bring gaming consoles?
Yes, they are. Yep. They can bring a TV and they can hook up their old school Nintendo to play Duck Hunt if they want to. Sega Genesis. Those are the only ones I know, and I know those are from.
And what's the sizing limit on the televisions?
From what I'm told, there is not. From what I understand, there is not a sizing limit. They are not. I don't believe they're allowed to hang a TV from a wall, though. So it would just have to be able to sit on top of their dresser or their desk. So that would probably be the only qualifying factor of TV size.
Understood. Thank you.
Here's a great one from a mother of a daughter. What are overnight guests? What's the policy on overnight guests for their significant others?
Michelle, you have that?
You got that one, Craig?
Well,
They can sign in guest, and they are allowed so many guests per room for and it's all outlined on our website. You can check it out under residence life. But I know I'm a mother of daughters as well, and things have just, life in general has changed. Even co-ed dorms has changed. But yeah, they can sign in guest, and the actual guest policy is outlined as to how many guests they can have and how long they can stay. And yeah, it's, Amanda, you have anything to chime in?
To add, yeah. So significant others are, as Michelle said, they do have to be, any visitor has to be signed in and out. And there's only so many days, I believe it's 3 days, that a guest can stay over consecutively. But in terms of, comfort of the roommate, things like that, that's a conversation that the students in the room have to have with each other. There are definitely rules in place to make sure that, students aren't put in awkward or uncomfortable situations. But it's definitely something that we manage. We don't want a significant other, a friend, a sibling, a cousin, right, staying over for weeks on end. There is definitely a time limit. And as I said, and as Michelle said, that person has to be signed in and out to make sure that somebody isn't overstaying their welcome. And there are a couple, so the size of the beds in the room is an extra long twin. And then there are pictures online of the rooms in the different residence halls. You can go ahead and search on the Winthrop website for residence hall rooms. And then we also showcase them in the virtual tour that is online as well.
So what you're saying is they can have their boyfriend, girlfriend, significant other stay the night.
They can, yes.
You just ruined my life. I
am so sorry. I am so sorry. But to be honest, I mean, this was a few years ago. I had a roommate who had a boyfriend and made it very clear in the beginning, as long as I am in the room and staying there, the boyfriend is not. And she respected that. So that's just something that, the kids have to work out before, any issues start. And I did just want to jump in. So it looks like Lee Pool, thank you so much for answering that. But the Inn at Winthrop was recently closed. So there is no longer a hotel or place on campus for families to stay. There are quite a few hotels in the area within, 3 to 5 miles that offer Winthrop discounts as well.
And also, just to go a little further on that, Dr. James, Knowledge Park is being constructed right behind our campus, and part of that is additional hotels that are literally going to be walking distance from our campus.
And another thing, I think we're going to have some, because we are doing so many virtual things now, we're trying to really get students super excited. And we are going to be doing like a roommate mixer. Facebook has been a great way for students to connect with one another, to try to find roommates, kind of make some friends ahead of time. But also we're going to be doing some things even, throughout early summer, where we're going to be doing like Facebook Live. I think I'm going to be covering packing for college. And I know, and I'm sure boys get very excited too, but I'm a mom of girls, and we plan how our room's going to look and what our beds are going to look like. And we're going to be doing some really fun things for students. And of course, parents should join in with us about really preparing for college and setting up a room and having everything you need, like a first aid kit and just things like that we've kind of learned. So we're really hoping to make it a lot of fun and very informative for the student, but also for the parent as well. So you just feel really comfortable sending them off.
Not to sound indelicate, but just to ask and verify from the previous questions about student interpersonal interactions in the dorms. The dorms are equipped with personal protection dispensers, or at the very least, they can get some from the Student Health Center?
Yes, there is protection in each residence hall, and then they also sell them at the bookstore on campus. And as discussed earlier, there is a Walgreens and a CVS right across the street. So while we can't cover over students, we do provide them ways to be safe.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I want to thank, we've now been here for about an hour and 15 minutes. I hope we've answered all your questions. Craig, Michelle, and I will be back at 7:30 for the next round. If you want to come back, we're going to be talking about the same things. We also will be, I'm sure, answering other questions as well. As I've said, and I'll continue to say, please, 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 if you have any questions, contact admissions. We have all the information that we can. If we don't, we're going to direct you to the right people. The best way is admissions@winthrop.edu, or our number is 803-323-2191. Again, 803-323-2191. Thank you so much. We cannot wait to have your students start with us this fall, and we cannot wait to welcome your entire family to the Winthrop community. Have an absolutely amazing night, and we will talk to you all soon.